Avengers, a return? What can you tell me?
I can't. I'm not telling you anything.
Come on.
No.
No?
No chance. Nah, it's all good. What's it say? What, anything else on?
Welcome to Couch Surfing, the show where distinguished guests look back at their big roles, their little roles, and everything in between. I'm here with Chiwetel Ejiofor. Chiwetel.
Hey.
Hey, you ready to surf?
Yeah, I am. Yeah.
Let's do it.
Let's go.
For America, you would need a visa, Shania.
Oh, yeah. Dirty Pretty Things.
This is your first starring role.
Yeah, it was a very big role for me, an amazing experience. Dirty Pretty Things, I kind of fell in love with film acting and the making of film and the poetry of film.
And your character Okwe is Nigerian, and we are as well. And this is one of a handful of films that, to me, truly captures the immigrant experience. And I was not familiar with the black market in organ trade. Had you been familiar with this underworld at all?
Well, I'd heard about it in a kind of, the sort of, those sort of tales, the sort of urban myth,
Right, but you always hear about it like, don't get roofied or you may lose a liver.
You wake up in the bath with the ice and, and the stitches. It's not graphic in the film, thankfully, but it is a kind of, horrific kind of underworld sort of activity, obviously.
Well, there's a heart in the toilet, but other than that.
Yeah, actually, that's true. Yeah, I've forgotten about that, actually. Yeah, somewhat not graphic.
All right, next up.
Ooh.
All right.
I love this scene. I mean, it's
Hearts
such a
and
happy
toilets,
movie.
hearts on sleeves.
Oh, there we are.
There we are, shifting gears, Love Actually. I mean, it has become a holiday classic.
Yeah, right. It's Christmas to Valentine's Day. Mm-hmm. Everybody's talking about Love Actually every year, which is really, really great. Of course, Andy's a bit of a weirdo in the film.
His character's creeping on your wife.
Well, that's true.
He's a bit of a stalker, if you will.
There's something of that in the storyline there, which is certainly worrying. I never saw him the same way after that, but I did set the zombies after him, so he got his comeuppance in the end.
Why do you think this film remains so beloved?
Because it's so, fully romantic and optimistic, and I think people do look for that, and I mean, they looked for it then when, the film came out. They look for it now. I mean, maybe even more so now. People want to kind of engage with things that are optimistic and light and have a lot of positivity.
All right.
Oh.
Your character's drag name is Lola. My name is Lola.
Well, there we go.
Is that a Kinks reference, or was
it had to be
your entire career up until this point, leading up to this moment right here on the couch?
Talking about Lola.
Yes.
I mean,
it's very meta.
it is.
But
it's
we
really
are here.
happening here.
High boots, nails, makeup, fake eyebrows.
Very
You
very
truly understand what it feels like to be a woman.
I remember
now.
it being very dangerous, is what I remember. Those heels and running around in those heels. It was trying to dance in those heels was, it's terrifying stuff. It's
Very
like,
precarious.
they say Tom Cruise does his own stunts, but my word, that was the real deal.
Just as scary.
They paid me danger money on that. Yeah.
Mission Impossible money, exactly. Would you ever consider appearing in the Broadway version?
Well, I think that the thing is about the Broadway version is that you would actually be compelled to do a lot of those dance numbers, obviously live with the heels, and I just don't know if I'd survive that kind of exercise at all. So I think it's best for everybody if I take a back seat. I'll be retiring my Lola.
All right. Next up.
Tell them they both weigh the same. They both weigh nothing.
I love this movie.
I love it too.
Yeah. I mean, as soon as it came on, I was suddenly settled. I was thinking, oh yeah, Inside Man, I could just watch this.
This was your second time being directed by Spike Lee after
Yeah,
She Hate Me, right?
Yeah, exactly. I did a little bit for, I played Frank Wills for Spike Lee and She Hate Me, and that was a tiny thing. I was there for I think a day or a couple of days. But then this was, I really got a chance to work with them guys, which was amazing. And to
What was he like to work with? He seems extremely passionate.
He was really interesting to work with. He's very, like you say, he's really passionate. He's really, really engaged, and as soon as he's on set, he's just kind of on fire, and it's just go, 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 and you get caught up a lot in Spike's energy. Spike had brought in a lot of theater actors, a lot of New York theater actors to do those improv sequences, you know, that are the film is sort of interspersed with these kind of flash back forward type things,
Right.
After the robbery.
People trying to piece together the robbery.
Exactly,
Right.
and a lot of that was improvised. A lot of really beautiful improvisation stuff, just sort of coming up from all of these very detailed, exceptional character actors.
I heard that there was supposed to be a sequel to Inside Man.
There's been rumors, you know, there've been rumors abroad, you know, for a while. So we'll
Now that
we'll
he's won
see.
the Oscar.
I mean, like he's just
Yeah, he's got
like,
two
they're
of
just
them
letting
now.
People run around. You know, when we're gonna make, you know, it's great.
Welcome back to Couch Surfing. I'm still here with Chiwetel Ejiofor. Chiwetel, shall we continue?
Yes, please.
All right, let's do it.
Oh yeah. And this was a great scene here. I mean, look at the, I mean, you know, apart from anything else, but this is, you know, the camera work here is just a kind of, it's a miracle, really.
This is considered one of the greatest single take shots in cinema.
Yeah, it's really amazing. You know, I think by now, I think people know how it was done with all of the seats on hinges and.
But how long did it take to shoot this entire sequence?
I can't really remember. I think this sequence here was all done on that day. No, what am I saying? No, this took forever. Like, I'm so lost in the movie. This took ages to shoot this. You know, it's like.
I mean, I
you
know
know,
Alfonso
like
Cuarón
weeks.
is a genius.
Yeah, he just hold the camera, did it on his iPhone. Yeah, no.
Now, this movie was clearly ahead of its time, and dealing with issues like Brexit and isolationism and refugees in cages.
It was so interesting to make a film like that, and you know, of course, as you say, it was very disheartening to see so much of that sort of come out and come to you know, to happen. The political landscape, you know, now is, you know, I mean, it's kind of complex.
It's very complex. All right, let's keep going.
There's no truth to it.
Well, here
and
we are,
Michael
yeah.
Fassbender.
Yeah, this is an amazing scene to play with Michael, and you know, I don't think he blinks this whole scene. It's an amazing kind of intensity that he has.
It was such a pivotal role for you, earned you an Oscar nomination. While you were filming, did you have any idea that it would go on to be that significant?
You sort of feel, you hope, of course, that it's going to be. Then it's going to be strong, you know, that it's going to be a strong piece of work. But even I just was not prepared the first time that I watched the film, you know, even knowing it so intimately.
Was it hard to shed Solomon, or did he stay with you?
It took me a little while, even in a kind of practical sense of just kind of coming out of that experience, you know, of just being able to kind of turn up at dinner parties and not just be talking about man's inhumanity to man, you know. Like, it took me a little while to just sort of, you know, re-enter society. You know?
I can't even imagine.
It was kind of an interesting time, but eventually it happened. I'm okay now.
You're okay
in
now.
case you're having a dinner
I
party.
can invite
anytime.
you over for
Yeah.
a dinner party,
That would be
a
nice,
brunch,
yeah.
perhaps. It won't get too heavy.
Exactly. When I leave by about 4, I'm good.
Up next.
Ah,
Okay.
Trust your
Yes.
teacher.
See that move?
I see it.
They didn't even speed that up. You know, I've known Benedict for a long time, and
But this was your second time working with him.
but this was, you know, obviously a totally different kind of world and experience, but really fun for both of us to play the kind of drama and the kind of stakes of this world, and this kind of almost very classic stakes in the kind of a sort of Shakespearean sense.
Now, your Mordo is different from the Mordo in the comic books. Was that your decision to make him a bit more complicated, or?
No, I mean, that was part of the script and the development of the script. I think when I got it, you know, there was still room to sort of continue to talk about it and to continue to develop the character and his dynamics with Doctor Strange. Yeah, all of this is really, I love this stuff, you know. It's really sort of fun to watch. I haven't seen it for a little while. I'm like, I don't want to
You're
talk.
so into this. I feel like I'm interrupting. Should I leave you alone and come back? I'll be
Watch the
right
movie.
back.
This is really cool.
Can we get him some popcorn? I'm actually excited about this.
Okay, great.
Yes. This marks your directorial debut.
That's true.
Yeah, it's fantastic.
No,
and you
thank
star
you.
in the film as well. So what compelled you to wear so many hats?
Well, it was really the story, you know. It was really, you know, William Kamkwamba's amazing story of what he went through when he was, you know, 13, 14 years old in 2001, 2002 in Malawi. in this tiny community that was put into such extraordinarily challenging circumstances. But through that, William Kamkwamba was able to use this tenacity and strength and this kind of curiosity and courage, to do this really remarkable thing in order to help his community and to get them through these challenging times.
And it took nearly 10 years to get it made.
From the moment of reading the book till now has been 10 years. And
to have it now be home at Netflix, that must be incredibly rewarding for you as well.
But I think that's a wonderfully rich space for storytellers, but also a very, very strong space for audiences to be in and to be sort of invited into these kind of other areas, I think that's sort of enriching of our entire kind of cultural experience and the kind of artistic experience with film. And so that's been incredibly exciting for me.
Chiwetel, thank you so much for surfing by.
Thank you.
The Boy Who Harnessed the Wind, streaming now on Netflix. See you next week on Couch Surfing.